guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Anani. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. If you are new here, welcome. Today's video, I actually want to take the time because I want to discuss with you guys what exactly I'm planning for my home in Jamaica. Just because I have bought a house and I am expatriating does not mean that I am done with the off-grid way of life. I still wholeheartedly believe that you should be self-sustainable in this life. As much as possible, try to get completely unreliant on the system. So with that being said, let's get into today's video and let's discuss how I'm planning to turn my Jamaican dream home into an off-grid self-sustainable oasis. The very first thing that I'm going to do, which is kind of a no-brainer, when you think of self-sustainability, you think of this thing, and that is solar panels. Not only do I want solar panels on my Jamaica home for sustainability reasons, but also too, in Jamaica, everybody knows that the power grid can sometimes be very unreliable. Jamaica is run kind of like by monopolies. So in Jamaica, there's only one light company. So if they suck, it's not like you can go to another one. No, like that's the light company. So of course, for self-sustainability reasons, I will be converting my home, but also too, just because it's the better bet out of all the energy choices in Jamaica. Here's where it's going to get interesting though. For those of you that don't know, it is not necessarily the amount of solar panels that you have that gives you power necessarily. It's more so the amount of batteries. Right? You can be pulling in all of the electricity you want, but if you don't have anywhere to store the energy, you can't use it. So right now, I don't quite have the funds to do what I would like to do with my energy, but as soon as I am able to get the money, I will be doing it quick, fast, and in a hurry. The second thing that you probably think of when you were talking about off-grid self-sustainable life is water. What are you going to do for water? So in America, water catchment systems kind of sound a bit taboo, right? Catching rainwater, people are like, oh, gag me with a spoon sort of a thing. In Jamaica, rain catchment systems are actually kind of the norm. Jamaica does not necessarily have 4 seasons in the way we do. They have what they call a dry season and a rainy season. So in the rainy season, you're going to get hella water just pouring down. In the dry season, there could be sometimes 3-4 months where water does not come. So a lot of times when you are driving and you see a Jamaican home, you will see huge black cylindrical barrels, even sometimes square ones, but really for the most part, these huge cylinders that hold so much water. What they do is typically they will call the city. So they will call like NWC, which is our water provider in Jamaica, and they will come and they will fill the water for you. I don't know if there's independent companies that do it as well. There could be. So I'm not sure if you guys know, leave it in the comments below. But I believe it is NWC that fills the barrels for them. I'm going to do it a bit different. Like I mentioned before, guys, I lived off-grid for 5 years. And in doing so, we actually caught rainwater. Like I say, I know that is a bit taboo to some, but catching rainwater, when done properly, is actually completely okay to do. What you need to make sure, though, is whatever barrel you're catching it in, of course, do research as well, but the barrel needs to be black because that stops the formation of algae and bacteria and all that horrible stuff. Also, too, typically what people will do if they are still a little bit cautious of catching rainwater and drinking it kind of straight like it is, you can also do multiple filtration systems and all that kind of a thing. And like I say, once I'm converting my home to water catchment, I will show videos and I'll have my mom come and help because she is the genius that knows how to do all of this stuff. So I am not just going to have rain barrels and have the city fill it up to call them out. No, I plan on having a water catchment, rain catchment system that can sustain me not only through the rainy season, but through the dry season. And not just for my home, I would like my tenant house to be set up the same way. My next plan for my Jamaica dream home, I will be composting everything. I want to have a great compost system. I have seen different ones. So on my family's off-grid community, we would do like the good old-fashioned way. You know, you have scraps, you throw it in the garden, it decomposes, all is well, right? But I do want to see if I can kind of upgrade on that, right? I do see kind of these different compostable trash can looking things. I know I see one called Mill. It's very expensive, but that is kind of like the one that I really think I like. It kind of like dries out everything, no smell, no bugs and stuff like that. So I will be trying to compost everything. If possible, I want everything that I use to go back to planting and feeding my crops and stuff like that. And I'm going to try to set up areas that facilitate a more organized way of composting. If you guys have any ideas, please drop them in the comments. Any ideas that you've seen of compost areas that you think look very well put together, I would love to see them, to get ideas and things like that. So yes, guys, that is going to be my plan. I do want to compost neatly, effectively, and efficiently. Speaking of compost and scraps, so if you guys have seen my backyard and front yard tour, you will know that I have a lot of space actually, and I really do want to make the garden of my dreams, the island tropical garden that I have always wanted. So I have a lot of fruit trees, praises to the Most High, that are actually already on the land, which I'm amazed at because growing fruit has been actually one of the things that I have not mastered. I am going to end up kind of retransplanting things because it is kind of like chaotic the way it is because it was growing naturally. So I will be transplanting things, but in my backyard and even in my front yard, I do want to have excellent vegetable gardens. Like I mentioned in my previous off-grid video of what I wish I knew, I'm going to start with about 7 to 10 crops. Once I master that, then if I want to, I will add more. But I do feel right now 7 to 10 is more than enough. Stuff like tomatoes, cucumbers, pumpkin does very well here. I do want to try to grow some kind of a green. Obviously, because I'm in Jamaica, callaloo is like the first thing that's coming to mind. I want the garden to look lush. I want it to be plentiful. I want it to be well organized, well designed. So again, if you guys have any suggestions, if you guys have any ideas, please let me know in the comments. I will give you guys a suggestion. I am really into kind of a Mediterranean style. My home will have some elements. Do stay tuned for that when the time comes for my home redesign. But I do also want Mediterranean elements in the landscape and design of my gardens as well. Another thing that I will be having, so fingers crossed, I know you guys have probably heard me say this throughout some of my videos, but I actually want to properly learn how to raise chickens. When I was on my off-grid community, that was actually my auntie's job, and she would take care of all of the chickens and everything. She did a wonderful job. So actually I might need to hit her up for some tips and tricks on how to do that. I want to get my own eggs. Eventually, if I want to be able to slaughter, maybe not me slaughter the chickens, but I want to have my chickens slaughtered. Also, too, do not quote me on this. I really want it, but I have heard that it can be a little bit of a challenge getting used to it. But I do want 4 goats. 4 goats. I love goat meat. I love goat cheese. I even like that what they do, you know, cleaning up the yard and stuff like that. They eat pretty much anything within reason. But I do know that goats are not for the faint of heart. If I'm not mistaken, goats are climbers, and goats, like I mentioned, they will eat any and everything. So fencing will need to be a top priority. The land is fenced, but it will even need fencing around the vegetables and things like that. So I really would want it. So a part of my self-sustainable journey, I do want to start raising my own animals. I have never done it personally. Like I said, my aunt was in charge of the chickens, but I do want to learn because I do want that incorporated into my home in Jamaica. The next thing that I want to do in Jamaica, I kind of started it a little bit on my family's off-grid community, but I never really fully got into it. And that is freeze drying and canning all of my leftovers from the food that I eat. I have seen so many videos on Instagram and TikTok and everything of people freeze drying their food. And I'm like, I have got to do this. As a part of me being in Jamaica, I really do not want to be wasteful anymore. I really want to try to utilize everything. So if we have leftovers, freeze dry it. If we have too much harvest, can it, and even sell it or give it away even. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't even always have to be sold. But yes, like I really want to get into that. So I want to learn it. I want to set up my own kind of station. I don't know if it'll be outdoors or indoors. I'm not quite sure yet, but I want to make sure I incorporate that as well into my home in Jamaica. Now, this one is ambitious. I have never done this. This is something down the road. And I mean, a lot of boxes have to be checked before I even get to this point. But eventually, one day, I even want to see if I can get into biogas. My boyfriend had told me about it before. My mom had told me about it as well. I know it could be very beneficial, especially in Jamaica. Pretty much 99% of the time, people are cooking with gas. They're not really cooking with electricity because it hikes your electricity bill. So everything is pretty much gas. So if I can find a way to even cut that bill off and create my own gas, that would be lovely. I need to get everything else in check before I even think about chemistry and molecules and gas and all that kind of a thing. But eventually it is one of my things that I really would like to do. If I can master gas, I feel like I will have the off-grid infinity stones. Guys, if you guys know anything about biogas, if you've heard about it, pros, cons, yes, no, let me know in the comments. Let me know channels that do it. If you guys know, I'll be happy to check out the videos. If the time comes when I get into biogas, I'll be sure to document everything so you guys know how to do it as well if you're interested. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate having you here with me today. It is going to be a great journey, and I'm so glad you guys are on it with me. Please stay tuned. We have a lot of great content coming up, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.